First new laying queen of 2023 from a split that I did May 4th. Made note that a virgin queen was in the hive on May 16th, and here it is, May 25th, 9 days later. I usually check around 8 days or so. So it was in the 30s overnight, and it's about 50 and cold, windy. Even though the sun is shining, it's offset by the wind. So this is my mating nook with the insulated fillers in there, and I sliding the outside frames over because majority of the time that the queen's going to be on the center frame, and I'll show you. There, that's my first new laying queen. I expect to do over 100 more this year. I'm probably not going to reach 250 colonies by the end of the year, but I currently have around 200, and I'm going to do another 25 this holiday weekend. So this one didn't cost me anything, just my time. And the thing is, with this global warming that they keep saying that doesn't exist, and all they're calling it climate change. Well, whatever. It warms up, then I do stuff, and then it cools off. And I'll show you here in a second. Let me pause this. I'm going to close this up before they get any colder. All right, with the system I use, I can add frames by taking out one of these insulated fillers. And I normally do it on the side that's exposed to the sun. They don't get a lot of sun here, but if I were to take a colony out or hive out and they get sun exposure, it would warm up the hive. And I go through my inventory and I try to find frames that have been started already. And if it were warmer, I would probably put this in the center to make sure that queen never runs out of room for laying, because I've had colonies kill their queen because the queen didn't lay, and they don't seem to know enough they always put their groceries right in the center of the hive, leaving no room for the queen to lay, and they think they have a bad queen. No, that's not what the problem is. The problem is the bees are stupid. So this is the first one, and again I expect to do over 100 more. What happened with the temperatures got cold, and even though a lot of these colonies were big colonies, you see, they still failed at queen cells. They had queen cells started, and I go through and I check about, I don't know, 14 days or so, see if a virgin queen's come out, and no virgin queen cells are all no good, because I'll cut them open, the queen cells are no good. They died when they got cold. And I redid these, and I've taken out my shims, try to keep them as warm as possible. And the weather doesn't cooperate, as you know, if it's farming. We haven't got any rain in a long time, and we won't be getting any rain for quite some time. And it's going to warm up and no rain. It's just as bad as, actually worse than cold and no rain. The flowers will not put out nectar if they don't have any rain, regardless of what the temperature is. And I currently have about 200 colonies here, and the dandelions are all done. And I realize I've got about 2 weeks, and I'm going to have to start moving colonies out, because they're going to be eating up all the reserve honey they made over the previous weeks with the dandelions. Because I've checked a lot of colonies, and they all have fresh new honey and nectar in their hives, but there's not enough flowers right now to keep them sustained. I got basically too many bees here, but I'm doing this for my breeding. You see that queen I just showed you? My drones bred that queen, okay? And I've been doing this for 10 years, and I'm gonna have probably a 10% failure rate with my queens over the next 12 months of them being a drone layer or whatever. but that's just the way it is. I didn't pay anything for these queens, and every time I bought queens, I've had a worse failure rate with queens that I bought, because a queen will lay really well for the first month or two, or the period that they decide, hey, this is a good queen, I'm going to sell this one, and then after you get it, she pitters out. Okay, so all right, I will give you guys an update when I get done with my mating nukes. I've got stuff all set up. I don't know if I could. It's supposed to warm up in a few days, and I've got things all set up to make it quicker for me to do my splits, and I'm not walking back as much. I've got my mating nukes set up on pallets, and I've got like 26 colonies I haven't split yet, and if I don't do them this coming weekend, I may not do them at all, because any new colony created in May and first part of June has a good chance of getting large enough to make it through winter. Anything created at the end of June and July, forget about it. You're going to end up carrying them in, or you're going to have to combine them with another colony, or you can take your old queens out of your colonies and requeen those colonies with the new colonies you created at the end of summer. Okay, so I'm really busy. It's just an update. First queen of 2023. Thank you.